All right, y'all, Rick's Smiley Morning Show. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up and show your love right now for the one and only Jeff Johnson. What up, Jeff?
Hey. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you. Man, listen, you all may have heard already, but I have to talk about it for a minute. Like, the reason why we have to do better with history lessons in this country is listening to Haley and Trump talk about the Civil War and either slavery or the lack thereof is just damn dumb. The former president decided that he thought it was a good idea to talk about the Civil War. Did you hear this?
I heard some of it. You talking about which one, between Trump or Nikki Haley?
Trump.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. I saw that on Morning Joe.
Where he said that he thought that was the Civil War was something he could have negotiated. Wow. Damn, dude, like what part was you going to negotiate? Was you going to say that you would have continued slavery and stop the secession of the southern states? What's the part that you would have negotiated? And the fact that this dude literally thinks that is a logical thought just continues to give us insight to what he thinks about America, what he thinks about our history, what he thinks about us as a people, what he thinks about even slavery as an institution, and his ability to be able to negotiate the Civil War not happening, which we know the only way that would have happened is if you would have continued slavery.
He doesn't have a coherent thought ever.
You know what, though, Kate? I actually think the problem is it is coherent, which is why it's so dangerous. Well, but here's the thing, right? Diabolical people have had coherent thoughts that were just so anti-humanity that it didn't sound like it made sense. Because who in the hell would do that?
Right.
And that's why I'm saying I think he's so dangerous. Because he does mean, you know what, if I was in there, I would have just kept slavery going. I would have negotiated this and stopped the war. Because guess what? Keeping these Negroes in chains is more important than 600,000 Americans who are white dying.
Right. It's almost like he's the dumb person's idea of what a smart person sounds like.
Yeah, he's diabolically insane. And with that, many of you know that at 9:30 this morning, he is going to face and going to be in court in Washington, D.C. He is facing the conversation is around his immunity appeals. And I don't know if you all have heard, he is essentially saying, and his lawyers are saying that he is immune. He has immunity from the things that he did to block the 2020 election because he was operating as the president to protect the laws of the land. This is insane, yet again. And there have been several other calls for immunity that have been blocked. There was a D.C. court, D.C. Circuit Court, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the court in Georgia that essentially said no. Like it was the D.C. Appeals Court that said last year that he was not immune from civil lawsuits brought by the Democrats in Congress. And they stated when he acts outside the function of his office, he does not continue to enjoy immunity. The court opinion read that when he acts in an unofficial private capacity, he's subject to civil suits like any private citizen. And it wasn't Georgia. I'm sorry. It was the federal appeals in New York rejected his claim of presidential immunity as he was dealing with the defamation trial case brought by Jean Carroll. And that trial is going to be next week, determining damages Trump owes Carroll for defamation after a federal appeals court denied Trump's efforts to delay the trial. And so him being in court is really interesting today because in many cases that wouldn't be the case. And the three judges that are going to hear the case today are J. Michelle Childs, who's a Biden appointment, Karen LaCraft Henderson, who's a George H.W. Bush appointment, and Florence Pan, who is a Biden appointee. And so it's going to be interesting to see what these judges decide, because if he is denied immunity, then obviously that's a different pathway ahead for him and his attorneys, especially when the Iowa primaries start next week.
So, Jeff,
I mean, Kay, I know that you have been just somewhat, whatever this case is due, it don't really matter. Do you think that what's going to happen today matters?
I definitely think it matters.
Okay.
I'm wondering what's going to influence voters. I think that's my biggest question. What is going to change the mind of voters? Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And what concerns me is we see all of this erratic behavior, all of this evidence that he's not fit to be president, but folks are still supporting him. That's scary.
But it
is scary.
It's the same people that supported him.
It's his folks and a lot of folks. It's a lot of folks.
You are seeing Haley take some of his votes in Iowa. And so I think you're right. It's going to be interesting to see what Iowa does, especially those folks that have been riding with him that may turn and go with Haley. But I think that's going to be the first test of your question is what are the voters, what are Republican voters going to do? And we're going to see in short order because this is next week.
All right. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that, Jeff, man. And let me real quick, Jeff, how many federal judges that Joe Biden has appointed since he's been president?
That is a good question, and one I will come back to you on because I don't know the exact answer.
Okay, I know it's a lot of them. I know he really been appointing a lot of judges. So, when certain cases come down the pipeline, that's going to be real important. And what Maria said is really scary. It's not so much scary what Donald Trump is saying, all the rhetoric that he's saying. It's the fact
support.
that people, the support that he getting, and people believe what he's saying. And just to show you the mindset of some people in this country and how dangerous and scary it is. Jeff, I appreciate
Rick, to answer your question, as of January 8th, Biden confirmed 166 Article 3 judges nominated, one associate justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, 39 judges for the United States Court of Appeals, and 126 judges for the United States District Courts. So you're right. There's been a lot of work that they've been doing to appoint judges to kind of counter all the work that Trump did to appoint judges.
And that's why it's so important that we get out and vote. Jeff, let everybody know how you can be reached.
Hit me at Jeff's Nation on IG, y'all. Enjoy your Tuesday. Love y'all.